Yo, what's going on, man? Welcome back to Heart of the City, man. I know it's been a minute. And but we back. We back. The dynamic dude, man. Your boy NYG Double Deuce, Coach Ed Gladney from Coach Ed's Amazing World of Sports, man. And we here to get it popping. We here to talk about Mike Brown. Mike Brown, new Knicks head coach. Yankees in action, Mets in action. Yankees and Mets set to play this weekend. Giants making moves. We got the Liberty, Coach's Corner, all that and much more, man. Y'all stay tuned. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. It's your boy NYG on Popular Opinion Sports and Coach Ed. We giving you Heart of the City. It's been a minute, but we back better than ever. Let's get it.
Ricey K, the Raisin Man.
Yeah, man. Yo, what's good, man? What's good, Coach, man? We are back, man. Yeah, man. Lots to get into, man. But before we do, man, want to check in with you, man. How you feeling, Coach, man? What's good with you, man?
I'm good. I'm good. Just taking it one day at a time. Just following what's going on in the sports world, and just ready to get into the heart of the city.
That's right, man. It is the heart of the city, and it is a lot going on in New York sports, man. New York sports, that is what we cover. If you are new to this show, please hit that like button. Please hit that subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell if you enjoy what you are listening to. So, let's set it off, man. You know how we do, man. We do this thing called Around the City, man. And we're going to go around the city, and we're just going to touch on all the teams, man. We're just going to touch on all the teams and see the news and notes about what's going on in NYC sports, man. So, again, like I touched on in the interview, lots to get into, but let's go.
I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Said I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Yeah, I want the power, but I want the love and respect first. Yeah, I want the power, the love and respect first.
All right, so let's kick it off, man. Coach, your Knicks, man. Your Knicks. So, the Knicks are set to hire Mike Brown as their next head coach. And to be honest with you, this was expected to happen. They have been talking with Mike Brown a lot here recently. But again, is this the right move? You fired Tibbs. You bringing in Mike Brown now. Mike Brown is not somebody to laugh at. Really, you know. I know I kind of be trolling a little bit, but again, he did win the Coach of the Year. He is a 3-time champ as an assistant. Coach LeBron, Kobe, Paul Gasol. I mean, look, what can he bring to the Knicks, though, that they were missing with Tibbs? That's what Knicks fans got to ask themselves. And that's the question I'm going to ask to my big bro, Coach Ed, man. What can he add? Because you got rid of Tom Thibodeau. Because y'all or the Knicks organization thought that they could upgrade. That's why they got rid of him. It wasn't necessarily because he didn't succeed, because he got you to the Eastern Conference Finals. They got rid of him because they thought they could upgrade. Is Mike Brown the upgrade Knicks fans were looking for? And if so, what can he add or bring that Tom Thibodeau was lacking? Y'all hit that like button. Coach, let's go, man. Let's set it off, man. Talk to him.
Well, first of all, shout out to Knicks Fan TV. Did a phenomenal job earlier today. You know, number one, breaking the news. I've been following him, and he, even before Shams reported it, he's been talking about it. And, you know, he said, you know, yesterday, more than likely it's going to happen. Earlier today, he was talking about it. Highly probable that it's going to happen. And next thing you know, comes out and he's being hired. As far as the Knicks nation, the Knicks fandom, he did a poll, and you know, it was A, B, C, and D basically, and a good percentage said B. You know, that they liked it. You know, it was I love it, I liked it, meh, and I don't like it. So again, a good percentage said that they liked it. Then after that was, you know, basically C, like, man, you know, they can take it or leave it. And then the last two, you know, I love it and I don't like it, brought up the rear. So most Knicks fans are either they like it or they're giving it a chance. He even said it. He's giving it a chance. Look, Mike Brown is not the sexy hire, and that's what you know we were looking for. Let's be real. That's what everybody was looking for. And when they got shut down, you know, they went through the process, doing their due diligence. People can joke about it, whatever the case may be, but look, they did their due diligence. Now, the candidates, you know, maybe you really didn't like them, but, you know, Brown brings you the most. Now, one of the things that was relayed is they want to be able to work with the coach from management to the coaching staff. And that's some of the rumors that were, you know, led in terms of Tibbs, that he really didn't want to work much with the management staff. Okay. Player development. You know, he's supposed to be good, or he's going to be bringing in people to help in player development, you know, whether they're a veteran or whether they're young players, but their focus is player development, you know, for not just your starters, but every player on the team. So because, you know, you have, you know, and you do have some young players, you know, so, you know, Dadier, first round draft pick last year, the guard from Marquette, you know, Hot Cordy, the big man. So there are some young players that need to be developed, and that's what he's, you know, they're looking for him to bring to the table. Now, they were talking about the different points of his offensive set. You know, one of the things they talked about was he likes to run a Princeton base offensive set. That's taking the big men, your center, and putting them in the high post, and also allowing him to, you know, look for cutters. You know, and anybody who's old school who knows back in the day, Princeton used to kill teams, whether they were more athletic, they would kill them with the backdoor cut. And, you know, and they, you know, they talked about that, you know, offensive movement, So it's not going to be the same old, just Jalen Brunson coming up, dribbling the basketball, maybe set up a pick and roll, and he's the whole focus. It's everyone's going to be involved in the offensive set. So there are a little bit more detailed aspects that were pointed out. Stuff well over my head. Off basketball wise, I'm not as efficient as you are when it comes to basketball, but these are things that I do know. So he also, one of the big things, they posted videos. He's going to hold, and I mean, you had Kobe Bryant speaking on it. Every player, LeBron even spoke on it. He holds everyone accountable. It doesn't matter if it's your number one guy or the last guy on the bench. He holds everyone accountable. He's going to cuss you out if you're not doing what you need to do. They spoke about a game with the Lakers where Kobe wasn't doing something that he liked, and he yanked him out of the game. Oh no, sorry. He told Meta World Peace to go in and get Kobe and send him to the bench. And Kobe went right past him and sat down. And then he said after the game, Kobe said, "I needed that. That's what I like. A coach that's going to hold you accountable." As a coach, I love stuff like that. The video was very vulgar. So to those who don't take kindly to that, or as a player, if you got some soft skin, Mike Brown is not the coach for you. I'm going to be honest with you. He's just not. But I like the fact that he holds people accountable. So, and that's the good thing. So now you can question, his, what happened in Cleveland, with the Lakers, with Sacramento being fired. What, he was 13-18 when he was fired into, the season last year. So, there might be questions here. Did he lose the locker room? You don't know. So, but he does have a winning record overall, except for last year overall with Sacramento, the last year and a half. His overall coaching record took a hit, but overall his whole career as a head coach, it is. I think he's at a 600 winning percentage. So right now, as a not Laker fan, sorry, as a Knicks fan, I'm taking a wait and see approach, and I'm just gonna say, let me see what's gonna happen. So, because right now, like you said, is he the one to take us over the hump? Only time will tell.
Yeah, man, and I think, look, like you said, it's not the sexy hire.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the sexy hire, and I think that's a lot of Knicks fans. They like the sexy, the high name, the high profile players, the high profile coaches. But look, again, you just need somebody that can come in here and bring it all together. You know what I'm saying? You got a solid team. You were in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Mm-hmm.
And, the move with Tibbs was kind of a writing on the wall move in a sense, because there was a lot of griping about his style of play and the way he, played the players too much and all that. So maybe, just maybe, a different vibe, a different voice can maybe get a little more juice out of the squeeze, so to speak, man, and get a little more of this Knicks team, enough to possibly get them into the NBA Finals next year, because the East is not like it once was. It's not like it once was. It's topsy-turvy right now because, you got the Bucks in flux. The Cavs are still together, but they were underperforming last year. These Knicks fired their head coach. You got the young Pistons, the Magic, they still trying to figure things out. They young, up and coming. So there's a lot of flux in the East. That being said, the Knicks can be right there. I troll Knicks fans a lot, man. It's this kind of brotherly thing that we have going on between the fan bases where we pick at each other, but this team is good. You know what I'm saying? They have a good roster. You know, they added Jordan Clarkson, and Gerson Yabusele. Is that how we pronounce his name? So
yeah, well, one of the joke they were looking for a nickname. One of the ones they said is they're going to call him Yabba Dabba Doo. So I was like, I was crying when I heard that word. Like,
Yabba Dabba Doo.
Yeah. So it was just
oh my God.
It's like it's hard. It's really, you know, we all going to butcher his name. You know, we're trying to figure it out, but you know, Gerson Yabusele. But I forgot that he was French, and he was playing that French national team when they played the United States in the Olympics. He was number 7 in that game, and he was putting in some work. So I forgot about that. And again, Dadier, who was our first round draft pick last year, they were teammates. So I'm sitting here, I'm saying to myself, oh, wait a minute. So there's that familiarity. So, you know, but again, you know, that was a joke, you know, as far as a nickname for him. So,
yeah, man. But all jokes aside, man, I do think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting. Now, we got Leaf in the chat trolling. Leaf, man, what's good with you, bro? Appreciate you tapping. Mitch, he's in the chat trolling too. Mitch, man, what's good with y'all, man? We back, bro. We back, man. That's interesting. That's really interesting.
I saw that. But the way it was explained is because he's a wing defender, you know, at 6'10", he can guard 1 through 5. It's not looking for him offensively. The only thing I was saying with that, the only thing I was saying with that is, okay, I get what you're saying, but we kind of have someone in Mitchell Robinson, to be honest with you, who's kind of in the same mode, limited offensively, you know, so, you know, but, you know, better on the defensive end. Now, if you're trying to bring him in to help the defense, and let's say you have a defensive lineup of, say, Mitchell, you have him if he's brought in, OG, Mikal Bridges, and, you know, maybe a Deuce McBride or a Josh Hart, then I could say, okay, fine, that's your defensive lineup, or whatever the case may be, you know. But I just, you know, I'm like, you know, I've watched them with the Nets, I watched them with the Sixers, and it's just like, you know, if he couldn't handle Philly, do you really, and, you know, he couldn't handle the Nets, do you think he could really handle the pressure of playing for the Knicks, especially now that the stakes are that much higher? I'm just like, I get it. I understand the rationale that you're kicking the tires, but I'm like, if you ask me personally, it's a hard pass. But I got a funny feeling you know, if the money is right, and that's the other thing, because, you know, they're right there at the tax penalty, whatever.
Yeah, no doubt, man, no doubt. Baseball update. The Yankees down again. Down again to the Blue Jays. Coach. I'm tired of the New York Yankees. And the reason why I'm tired of the New York Yankees is because of Aaron Boone and the new Steinburners. Look, man, y'all had a 7-game lead. May 28th. It's down to 1. And if you lose this game, guess what? You're tied. You're tied with the Toronto Blue Jays for first. The Toronto Blue Jays. Now, the Blue Jays ain't no scrub team, but come on, man. This ain't the Red Sox. This ain't even the Orioles. This the Blue Jays, bro. Aaron Judge doing his thing. Where the bullpen at? I thought y'all see, since this bullpen been not good, and they been a thorn in the Yankees side for years now. I keep talking about this pitching. It ain't just the starting pitching. Because guess what? Max Fried been pitching well until last night, but Rodon been pitching okay. You know, you got some quality starts out of Warren. What's the other guy? Smith. Clark Smith. So again, it's not like the starting pitching is horrible. It'd be the bullpen and a combination of you. Sometimes you go blank offensively, which happens in baseball. But again, I feel like when Giancarlo Stanton comes back to the lineup, whenever he gets back, it seems like that's when the Yankees start to struggle because you got a lot of swinging and missing in this lineup, and even Aaron Judge. But Judge does deliver, so you got to give the Yankees that. But where we at though? Where we at? 1 game lead. And it's about to be over, Coach. It's about to be over, man. Because look, you only got the Red Sox by 6. The Yankees are 10-14 in their division. How you leading the division? You got a losing record in the division. How? This is what I'm talking about. Yeah. We back. And I'm back on the bully. You know what I'm saying? I'm back on my bully because some pressure need to get put on this organization. I talk about these bulletproof organizations that they just collect checks pretty much. You know, you can sit on the fact that you have all these championships, you could sit on that. So I feel like with certain organizations, it's harder to city. I'm only going to speak on the Yankees because the Yankees are one of them in New York. There is another one, the Knicks, but I'm going to leave the Knicks out of this for now. The Yankees, sometimes it don't seem like they putting a lot of effort into winning the championship. That's how I feel as a fan. Now they do make moves, I get it, but I don't feel like they go hard like the Dodgers, even the Mets now. You know what I'm saying? And those are the teams right now that you looking at that are probably more favored than you. One of them in your city and one of them is your rival, the Dodgers. You know, Dodgers from Brooklyn, you know. Yankees, Dodgers. That's a big rivalry. So I don't know what y'all doing over there in the Bronx, man. Talk to him, Coach, man, because this should be pissing me off, man.
I don't know either, man. I mean, first of all, shout out to my man Alex, because today, for those of you who don't know, go on Twitter and check out Big Boo in the Bronx. And when I say he annihilated the Yankees, he annihilated them. I mean, he went into ripping them and about exactly what you're talking about. And he's been one of the biggest Yankee supporters that I have ever known, you know, and he even said it, man. He's like, I'm not going to another Yankee game, investing all this money, the time, the effort to get it. You're investing in a product, and this is the return on your product that you're getting. It's one thing if you're being competitive, because you talked about, the offense. How many shutouts did they have recently? It almost seemed literally back to back for a whole week. It seemed.
Mm-hmm.
They were shut out in every game.
I think it was like 3 games in a row. Yeah.
Yes, and I'm saying to myself, I've never seen that from the Yankees. And I can go all the way back to watching in the 70s, watching Reggie Jackson and Chris Chambliss and all those guys, man. I mean,
exactly.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking at this, and you have all these big money players, and like you said, you're talking about the pitching. You're talking about the bullpen. Yes, we are spoiled as Yankee fans. I get it. But the expectation and what you're looking for is a whole lot more. And if you're going to charge all this freaking money.
Right. See?
Yeah. And I'm one to usually say, look, man, I'm not going to kill you, a sports organization, for charging whatever they can get. Come on, man. You got to give something back. You got to give us something back to be, to have us continue with our fandom and invest the money. I mean, and like I said, Alex was talking about that, the stadium, everything. So that's all I got to say about them.
Yeah, man. Look, man, Yankees fans, you could say they spoil you, but at the end of the day, they created those expectations for the fan base. It's not like we going up here asking the dang on Arizona Diamondbacks, to do what we asking the Yankees do. This is the Yankees. Mm-hmm. Again, I talk about these bulletproof franchises in sports. The Cowboys, the Yankees, Lakers, Celtics, like Knicks. You talk about the Steelers coach. Like some of these franchises, man, year after year after year after year, they have high expectations. They may not win all the time, but they always have those high expectations. Now, that just comes with winning organizations, So you can't get mad at the fans for not expecting the Yankees to be, a wild card playoff team. No, you expect championships. What are we doing here? We're not the Blue Jays. We're not the Pirates. We're not the Cubs. Sorry, Pat, but
Aaron Judge is targeted with his 31st home run.
Yeah. I'm keeping an eye on it, Coach. Top of the 8th. It's 9-9 now. I'm gonna update y'all as we go along. But again, 9-9. Like this is what I'm talking about. You in a dogfight just not to get swept because you lost the first 2 games to the Blue Jays. Mm-hmm. So you try not to get swept. That's what we doing here. Avoiding sweeps. All right, man. I done beat up on the Yankees. Enough, man. No, because the Mets ain't been playing too well either. Mm-mm. Yeah, this is Heart of the City. Y'all hit that like button. We touch on all New York City area teams. Mets. The Mets right now, where we at? Top of the 8th, 6-3. Bottom of the 8th, 6-3. Yankees right now, top of the 8th. Chisholm at bat, and it's 9-9. Yankees fighting, Mets fighting, but the Mets, man, Juan Soto, coach. He been aight. He been aight, but again, is it what you
Yo, no, it's the chat. It's the chat. It's Drew. It's Drew. That was a good one, Drew. I have to say that was a good one, Drew.
Oh yeah, and we're gonna get into that too, man. I see y'all in the chat, man. Daniel Berry, what's good with you? Cave. Shout out, man. We back, man. We cutting up tonight, man. Y'all hit that like button.
I like that one.
Yeah. Did you see the one with him and John Gruden? I'm gonna play that clip. That shit's funny too. But what was that? The Mets. The Mets right now. 6-3. New York Mets. They are 2 games out of first to your Phillies, coach. 2.5 games back. So for all that talk and all that bashing I just did to the New York Yankees, the Mets was leading a division 2. And they lost their lead. And they got this very, 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 very expensive, extremely high profile player named Juan Soto. And he has just been okay, in my opinion. And in Mets fans' opinion. So you ain't the little Mets no more. You are competing in that same stratosphere with the Yankees and Dodgers. That's why I put them in that category, because they were in the National League Championship game last year, National Championship League Series, and y'all lost to the Dodgers. So your counter move was to go out and get Juan Soto, stealing him from your crosstown rival, the Yankees, which was smart. But you paid a lot of money because y'all want to be the Yankees. Y'all want to take the Yankee spot and be these high spenders, these big time players. You got the new owner. Yeah, I know. I know what you're trying to do. But will it work? Will it work? Because right now you kind of, pedal paddling a little bit. I guess you're trying to just ease your way in, get through the regular season. But the Phillies got a lot to say about that in your very own division. Now that's the only competition you got in your division, because fortunately for you, the Braves, Marlins, and Nationals stink, unlike the Yankees, where the Yankees got 4 contenders in their division. The Red Sox ain't as bad as people think. Talk to him about the Mets, coach.
I mean, you said it all, man. I mean, you talking about the division. I remember when they were leading on with baseball. And, the Dodgers were just slowly, steadily doing what they need to do to get back into the Phillies. Look what they're doing. Look how they're playing. And, they have their ups and downs. And look, no sleep on Atlanta, man. Atlanta will wake up, and next thing you know, right now the Mets are in the second slot for the wild card. So,
Mets on a 4-game losing streak, coach. 4-game losing streak, 3-7 in their last 10. 3-7 in your last 10. Let's tap in real quick. Let's see what's going on right now. 6-3, bottom of the 8th. You have RBIs by Lindor and Nimmo. Home run from Nimmo. In the second, his 16th. Home run from Lindor in the second, his 17th. Lindor making the starting all-star team, by the way. Congratulations to him. He has been playing very, very well. Yeah, coach. Juan Soto 1 for 3 tonight. Just not impressive. What's Soto hitting? What's his numbers? Hitting 257 on the year so far. Yeah, man. I don't know if they really getting that return. Now he got 20 home runs, you know, and he'll be an all-star, all the accolades. I mean, these things are generally standard, once you get to a certain level, you kind of get it on name recognition sometimes. But not saying he having a bad season. He is having a decent season, but again, y'all talking championships or what y'all doing over there in Queens? But let's get to the Giants. Let's get to the New York football Giants. Your man's Sir Rap-A-Lot, Darren Waller. Coming out of retirement. But he like, I ain't trying to play for y'all. Here's the thing. If y'all could trade me to Miami, that'd be pretty cool, right? Come out of retirement and get to go to Miami and play. Who wouldn't want to do that? And get a bag, get a couple dollars to them, but it's $5 million. You know what I'm saying? Why not? So that's what happened. Giants trading Darren Waller to the Dolphins for a 6th round pick. And the Giants sending the 7th. I don't understand how these trades are. Why are you sending the pick?
I thought they also get a conditional 2027 7th rounder too. A conditional though.
No, the Giants are sending the conditional 7th rounder to the Dolphins and Darren Waller, and the Dolphins are just sending the 6th round pick. That's why I understand some of these trades, because it's like, why are the Giants sending a pick when it seems like the Dolphins should be paying way more? Because the guy's retired and you want him to play for you, and the Giants have his rights, so they have all the leverage. I don't know why I'm not giving. That's just me. Maybe that's my business hustler's mindset kicking in. But I'm like, nah, I ain't giving you. Why I'm giving you a 7th rounder for? I don't care if it is conditional. You give me the 6, and you give me a conditional 7th rounder in the future if you want Darren Waller to come out and go play for y'all because y'all wanted to trade Jonnu Smith to Pittsburgh Steelers. But this heart of the city, we're gonna stick on topic. But that's why they did it. You know what I'm saying? That's why they did it. They needed a tight end. But if you the Giants, I don't know, man. Something about this just smell funny to me, because it's like, is it that bad over there that cats rather retire than play for your organization? And they come out of retirement not to play for you? And I get it. The Giants got some young tight ends on their roster, but come on now. You mean to tell me they wouldn't have wanted to add Darren Waller to that mix? Theo Johnson and Darren Waller? Come on now. 2 tight end sets? Come on now. So that's just telling me, like, it's funky over there with the Giants, which is what I knew, but I've been trying to tell these hard-headed ass Giants fans that, and they want to put these rosy colored glasses on and think shit is sweet over there. It's not. It's not. And this is, to me, the biggest takeaway I get from this is that bad that players really have a problem, and a lot of players, not everybody, because people do value money over situations sometimes. I'm just going there to get money. I don't care what y'all got going on, just pay me. But you know, a guy like Darren Waller that's got issues and emotional things going on, yeah, a situation must have been bad for him not to want to play there, to maybe trigger his, you know, emotional or mental state. That's how I feel about it. But y'all talk to me, man. Coach, talk to me.
I agree with you, man. I mean, he's not mentally built for New York, period. Case closed. You know, you want to go down to South Beach, I get it. You know, you want to talk about the money, you know, Florida, good weather, you know, no state income tax. You know, you're a hop, skip, and a jump from Colombia. Oh, I'm sorry, I shouldn't say that. But, you know.
Yeah, playing in Miami. Me and Pat joked about that too, bro. It was like that. Yeah, it smells wrong on both ends. Let's put it like that. It don't. Something about Darren Waller going to Miami, I don't feel comfortable with it either for Darren Waller. But I would not. If I was people close to Darren Waller, I would not want him down there in Miami. I would want him to go play in Buffalo somewhere or something like that. Like go to a contender, but go where it's cold. There ain't nothing going on. Miami, Tyreek Hill and them boys be out there turned up. I already know. You ain't got to tell me, because these are things I know. Athletes, this is what they do when they have money. Darren Waller's gonna have money. They giving him $5 million to go down there and play.
You were walking on that beach, and them girls gonna see him and come running up. And
you single? You've been crying in the media about your love life and all that. So you know the boo boo, the honey boo boos. Oh, I could be better than her. All that good stuff. You know how it is.
That's funny. Drew is crazy, man. True. I love it. I love it.
Exactly.
It.
Yeah, so. You ain't lying. I've been down there. I've been down there. Look, man, I got first-hand experience.
Me too.
Down there in Miami. It's like that, bro. But look, it's a family show. But yeah, talk about Darren Waller, and what's a 6th-round pick a good return to get back?
I mean, you got something. I mean, based on everything that you got, you know, you had to give up to get him, and then, you know, the retirement aspect of it, you know, I mean, and then him on the unretired. I mean, you're getting something. What are you going to do? You're going to say, no, we're not going to trade you? And then, you know, you're not getting anything. Now, mind you, you know, you could say, you know, well, you gave up what, a third for him, you know, but you're cutting your loss. You're cutting your loss. That's really all it is. You're getting rid of a problem child. He doesn't want to be here. He can't handle this market. All right, fine. You know, we all joking, whatever. But you know what? If it resurrects his career and he goes down there and starts performing, he might like that offense better. He might be better suited for what's his name, Mike McDonald. Mike McDaniels. He might be better suited for his offense. So, you know, I mean, and like you said, they just traded a tight end to Pittsburgh. So, you know, so hey, more power to him. You know, all jokes aside, I wish him well. You know, I want, you know, nothing bad like that. You know, but you know what? You go down there and see if you can resurrect your career. If not, you know, you won't have to face the chopping block like you would up here in New York. So,
Blue Jays just scored. On a wild pitch, man. 10-9, Jays, bottom of the ninth.
Well, Drew, if you ain't out trading him and nobody's giving you anything, are you just going to sit there and say, well, then go back and retire and not even get a 6th-round draft pick?
Basically, you would be holding him hostage, which, if the relationship was bad, I understand, but I don't think the relationship was like a horrible. I just think the Giants understood what Darren Waller was going through, and it was like, all right, like if you don't want to play for us, cool, but like we ain't just gonna let you walk. We got to get something for you. You know what I'm saying? But and in the Dolphins standpoint, it's like, what really are you giving up for a retired tight end? You know, a 5th-round pick, that would have been high. You know, my thing though, Drew, was I wouldn't have gave up a 7th rounder in return with that. You know, it would have just had to been the player for the pick. Why are you giving up a pick? Now the Giants don't even have a 7th rounder in the next draft. They just got 3 6th rounders, which is a higher value, but I get it. But, you know, I mean, still, you can always flip. I remember Tom Coughlin doing this for years when he would take those 7th round picks and flip them for like kickers, punters, you know, special teams players. So those picks are valuable in a sense, you know, on a lower key level, you know, when you think about it. So like, I wouldn't be just giving them away just to give them away. Like, nah, Darren Waller for the 6. That's the trade. I'm not giving you shit else.
That's fair.
You know what I mean? But what else did I need to touch on? I got to touch on my squad, the Brooklyn Nets. So Nets making moves. And I'm gonna drop the link if Cave or Leaf want to come up and talk basketball, or if anybody up there want to talk about the Giants, anything, y'all let me know. I want to save a portion of our show to have a conversation, a call-in portion of the show. I'm gonna try to do this thing a little bit different here. First 45 minutes to an hour, we're gonna do around the city. Me and Coach gonna talk, spit our shit, whatever, and then we'll drop the link, let you guys in on the convo. But Brooklyn Nets, Michael Porter Jr., 11-9. Here we go. They're about to break it open. Yeah, team. I'm gonna tell y'all honestly, the 2 teams that get on my nerves the most out of the teams I root for is the Yankees and the Giants. The Nets, look, I understand the Nets, what the Nets are going through, you know, and I know they made mistakes, but it's like I'm willing to give them a chance a little bit, you know. They try. They do some good things, you know. As an organization, I feel like the Giants and the Yankees, you expect more. That's how I feel. You expect more. But the Nets are rebuilding, and guess what? They're doing a very, very good job of that, because what do you want in a rebuild? You want assets. And the Nets are collecting assets by the boatload. Michael Porter Jr. for Cam Johnson, and they get a 1st-round pick in 2032 in return. That is the trade. That's the big move right here by the Brooklyn Nets. And I like the move. You take on the contract, you got to eat up some of this cap room that you got. So you take on Porter Jr.'s contract. You know, he'll contribute, but he's not going to take you out of the running for the number 1 pick next year, which is what the Nets ultimately want. The Nets are looking for that gift that the league gave the Dallas Mavericks. And y'all were wrong for doing that, NBA. You don't gift the team that made a mistake and trading away their superstar, you know. But anyway, the Nets, I'm tired of the number 1 pick going to Texas, goddammit. Send it to the East. It's Spurs, Rockets, Mavericks. We need some help too. Y'all send all the talent down to Texas for. All 3 of them teams is loaded. Think about it, coach. Rockets, Spurs, and Mavericks got talent out the wazoo. Brooklyn, we got the 8th pick. Now, Igor Demon, I see what they doing. I see the type of team that they building. To your point, coach, with the Princeton-style offense, I don't think Jordy Fernandez is running a Princeton-style offense. I do think he likes his big men in the high post, though, and he wants them more as facilitators, pick and roll, and then you need shooters to spot up in the corners, you know. But now you got ball handlers, and now you can have better ball movement on the court, and you need people out there that can shoot when your people get in the lane, when your ball handlers get in the lane. So your big men got to know how to pass. They got to know how to handle the ball. That's why look, man. Danny Wolf was a good pick, but I'm trying to think about Nick Claxton, and I'm just wondering if Nick Claxton is the next piece that the Nets try to move on from and flip, because I don't really know how he fits into what Jordy Fernandez is trying to do long term. Now on defense, yeah, you need somebody that can play defense. You need a rim protector, but again, you got teams out there. Now the Lakers just signed Ayton, but the Pacers are looking for a big. You know, there's a couple other teams that's looking for what Nick Claxton can bring. So maybe you can flip him and get, you know, maybe another one of those conspiring contracts and another draft pick. Now you can't. This ain't like the NFL. In the NBA, you can't collect but so many draft picks because you only got so many spots on your roster and you only have so many rounds to draft in anyway. You know, you only got 2 rounds, so the most, maybe, you know, you get a couple picks in each round, but that's it. So at some point, they're going to have to turn these picks into a player. And that's where I'm trying to...
the new CBA, too. Don't forget that's another thing, because if you have, for argument's sake, you had 5 first-rounders, don't forget when their rookie contract is up and they come back up for, you know, that second contract, that CBA restricts you, man. That new CBA with the tax penalties and everything, that restricts you, because was it you? Or was it? I forgot who was telling me about it with OKC. You know, I mean, with Shea getting his money now, but then you have, you know, the other Jalen Williams, and then you have whatchamacallit, you know, Chet, you know, which is true, you know. So it's like, you know, yeah, you want to rebuild, but it's also the fact that this CBA, and you guys have a boatload of first rounders. I mean, over to 32, I think you have like 11, 12, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they have more than 12 now. It was last I checked. I mean, because they got a couple more. Remember, they got one in the Porzingis deal, which they used, and then they got one in this most recent deal for Cam Johnson for Porter Jr. So, and the Nets gotta get that top, like, you gotta get that player. You got to get that guy. And I think, remember, we talked about this on Heat Check. Shout out to our new podcast on the Aboriginal Sports Network. Y'all go check that out. NBA Heat Check, man, with me, Big Pat Sports Talk, and Coach. We talked about that, though. And we talked about how they copying the OKC, Indiana kind of model where you kind of building your team out 1 through 12. But what did I say on the podcast? You need that guy to build around. The Nets don't have that guy now. Big fan, Breezy, man. I love you, bro. He's a Cam Thomas guy, but Cam Thomas is not that guy. He's a good player, probably a secondary player, maybe a Batman, maybe like a Jalen Williams type to a Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, something like that is where I can envision him being, but not a guy. You need a guy that you could build around. Is Igor Dimin that guy? I don't know. I wouldn't expect him to be, but again, we don't know. He's a rookie. But until the Nets find that guy, they're going to have to keep chasing the draft and keep drafting until you get one of those players. And normally in the NBA, to get one of those players, you got to be in like the top 3. It's not like the NFL per se. I said normally. Yeah. Now, the lottery. Let's say the lottery. You know what I mean?
No, what I was getting at
usually is to the higher part of the lottery.
But I'm also looking at OKC because they got Shea from LA, and he was 14th pick. So I'm also saying it's about player development too.
That's true. Yeah.
Every player has talent. They really do. It's what can you get out of them, and how can you develop it? Look at Brunson. When he was with Dallas, he was playing behind Luka, and comes here. Or when Luka went down, you started to see the little bits and pieces. And Jalen is a 2nd-round draft pick. So, it's also about player development. You have to have a little bit of luck. I'm not going to sit here and say you don't. The situation has to be right. So it's everything. So, I'm not sleeping on you guys, man. You guys may luck up. You have enough draft picks that one of them may end up being that guy that you're talking about.
Yeah, so right now, final end with the Mets 7-3. Mets get the dub. Diaz with the save. Tidwell with the W for the Mets, man. So the Mets able to snap their 4-game losing streak here.
Pull out the drones.
And the Yankees lose again.
So technically, because of this, they're not tied for first. They're actually behind the Blue Jays because the Blue Jays just got this 3-game sweep. So that's how I look at it. So they're in 2nd place.
Yeah.
In the division.
Yeah. Well, they got one more game. This is a 4-game slate. So they play them all, and then the Yankees start a series with the Mets this weekend. So that's going to be key. Yankees versus Mets. That's going to be a key series here. Let me see who's set to take the mound in this series. If I can find that out, I will for you guys. But yeah, Yankees and Mets, and I mean, Yankees got to get together, bro. Like it's getting concerning.
Getting.
Well, I mean, look, I say getting because this is the regular season and it's very, very long, and we just hit July. You still got whole of July, August, and September. So a lot can happen in that time frame. And again, the Yankees are a team that we value the postseason more than the regular season. So me saying it's getting concerning is me getting concerned about them possibly not getting to the postseason, not me getting, you know what I'm saying? Like it's a level to the concern. I'm already concerned about them not winning it. I'm already there with you. But them not getting to the postseason, I'm not that concerned. But I'm getting there. I'm getting it. Like, get a little scary, get a little dicey here now. You know what I'm saying? You gotta make the playoffs.
You already got Detroit and Houston already on top of them, and now they're starting to separate. So, and then you're going to be playing for the second wild card. So, or no, you're in the first wild card. So,
the winner of the loser. It looks like the loser of the AL East will be right now, one of those wild card teams. Yeah. So because the three teams are the Yankees, who got the lead right now, and then the Jays and the Rays are both in those top 2 wild card spots, and they have a 3-game lead over the Mariners. So even if the Yankees fall out of the AL East lead, they still slide into one of those wild card spots 9 times out of 10. But again, it can get to a point to where you ain't even there. You keep on losing. You keep on sliding and losing these games, to division rivals. The division, man. Your division. We talk about this with the Giants, too. You gotta win in your division.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'm telling you. Drew says, imagine when differently. Still got big names like Durant, Hart, maybe even get Kyrie. Imagine if they had stars. Yeah, I mean, the star chasing, I mean, especially for these New York teams, I don't think it works. The Nets tried it. Knicks have tried it time and time again. The Nets, they went that route. Now you just got to player development. OKC has showed you. Golden State has even showed you. You do have to make some timely moves. It's not just, a roster full of all drafted players. That's not what we're talking about. But the core group of guys that you're going to be rolling with, should be your very own draft picks, or some players that you may have acquired with the draft picks that you accumulated, not going out here spending money in free agency. That's what we're talking about. The NBA is a little bit different in the NFL, and where, the trade aspect is more, I feel like it's more of a part of the roster construction. In the NFL, I feel like drafting, free agency. Because remember, you got a lot of draft picks and you sign a lot of free agents. NFL don't make a lot of trades like that. NBA, you do. And even on the small level, the NBA make a lot of small trades where these draft picks get exchanged. You see what I mean? So the draft picks are part of acquiring talent, but it's not just drafting the players, it's how you use those picks to go get other players, alluding to your point, Coach, and how OKC got SGA. You know what I mean? So you got to make the right moves with those draft picks. You can't.
Congratulations, champ. Are cool. You guys deserved it. So congratulations.
Salute, man. Definitely. Now you see everybody trying to run and copy what you guys did. So, and that's what we talking about here with the Nets and the Knicks. But yeah, man. Mets win. Yankees lose. What's new? What's new, Coach?
You want to know something? You want to know? No, seriously. All jokes aside, do you notice that we don't have anything to talk about with the Jets? Everything is quiet. Aaron Glenn so far is doing a phenomenal job because what is he doing? Let everybody else do whatever. We just sit back and we handle our business. And I'm gonna be honest. I'm excited to see what they're going to do this year. with him in the leadership.
Mhm.
Now, I'm not expecting them to be, you know, in playoff contention or anything like that. But I'm looking to see, is this a new era under the New York New York Jets? Not say New York football.
Mhm.
So, but again, I mean, can you take it back a little bit to some regards, a little bit to the Rex Ryan type of, even though Rex is brash, but my point being is the Jets, can they turn their pathway around and build something sustainable there and not be the same old dysfunctional Jets?
Possibly. When you got two teams in the city, it's really hard for that other team to. I mean, my Nets fight with you guys for that. The Giants and Jets do it. Mets and Yankees do it. Lakers and Clippers do it. Cubs and White Sox do it. Like, it's really hard for that other team to get to that level. Just have one championship damn near when the NFL was started. Well, the merger.
And it's
Since
Super
then,
Bowl era.
It's Super Bowl era, yeah. Merger, Super Bowl era. But that's it. And it's like they haven't been in the Super Bowl. They've been to the AFC Championship game a couple times. But it's like you guys aren't even getting close. Now, with this team, though, the Jets are always going to be better when things are quiet around that franchise, because what they have done in recent years, when the Giants were winning, they were trying to compete with the Giants. They were trying to steal headlines, and by making all these crazy moves and signing all these players and shit like that. But now the focus being more on football and not the headlines, like with Aaron Rodgers, back in the day with Brett Favre, even the Rex Ryan teams were loud. But now that it's a little more quiet, it allows the team as a general to focus more on football. And in New York, that's important. And I'm going to tell y'all why. This is Heart of the City. This is why we do this. Because we coming to you from an NYC, New York / Jersey perspective. What happens when there's not a lot of media attention on a New York team? You don't have to answer some of those questions that distract you from the football aspect of things. Like, hey, what's going on with Aaron Rodgers? Or, hey, why isn't this person signed? Or, hey, why is this person holding out? Or, hey, why did this person get arrested? When you don't have those things, you don't have the media bugging your team and your players about that. Which, again, things are mental. A lot of things are mental. So you could have mental pressure or mental stress on some of these players. Like, man, I'm tired of answering these questions. Can I just play football? And then, if one of them mess up and say the wrong thing, now you in the media, now they dragging you. Why did he say this about so-and-so? Is there a fracture in the locker room? So when you don't have the media, when the media don't have no ammo to come at you with those type of questions, all you got to do is just sit back and answer the football questions. Yeah, yeah, we going to play tough. We going to run the football. And now you don't, in your mental mind, you could just focus on football, and you don't got to focus on like how I'm going to answer these questions, or I hope they don't ask me about this, or yada, 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 yada. So that could be a very good thing for the New York Jets going into
Alex
this regular season, man. I'm telling you.
You just missed us killing the mighty Yankees, Alex.
What's good, man? I know it's been a while, man. Appreciate you tapping in, bro. And I'm gonna talk to you, man. I'm gonna give you a call when I get some free time, Alex, man. I want to rap with you, man. I know you're going through some things, but you making some changes, some positive changes in your life, man. And congratulations on you for that as well, my bro. Definitely appreciate you, man, and all you've done for this community, man. But yeah, the fucking Yankees stink, and they get on my goddamn nerves, and I've been ripping them this whole podcast because I'm tired of it, Alex. I'm tired of it, bro. This team, you can't be pushed by the Blue Jays and the Rays. The Red Sox ain't even having a damn good year. The Orioles are down. And here you are with a 7th game lead on May 28th, and now you tied. Why? Because you continue to be stubborn. But you got it, Coach, man. Give me a second.
No, you said it best, man. You covered everything, especially when it comes to these Yankees. So, they give you a great deal of agita. So, a lot of these New York teams do. So, it is frustrating at times. We as fans, we invest. I talked about money earlier, but we also invest our emotions. So. You just bottom line, you want championships. I ain't gonna lie. I don't care if it's football, basketball, hockey, baseball. You want championships because, we don't get the rings per se, like the teams do. We don't get money back. So you want to, stick your chest out and talk trash, like Eagles fans do to us Giants fans. Yeah, you relish in that because, otherwise it's just like, oh, guys, I got to hear these guys. And you can't really say much. I mean, you come back with certain things, but I went over that earlier, Alex. I mean, it's like right now I'm taking a wait and see approach. I mean, you can argue about, his being fired, but there's some things that, he does. He holds players accountable. I talked a little bit about, the offensive system that he's going to be bringing in, him working with, management to, in terms of communication. He's talked about the rumors are, about player development. So I'm taking a wait and see approach. I'm not going to sit here and poo-poo it. Anybody who knows me knows I did say for the last 2 years, Tibbs is not it. He's just not the one to take you. And it's not just here in New York, man. You can look at Minnesota, you can look at Chicago. It's the same thing. And, he's set in his way. So, and I said it before, nice man, but, I'm going to be honest with you. Some coaches are just not championship coaches. They're just not. Plain and simple. It's not belittling them as a coach. It's not talking about, well, they can't coach. I've known some coaches and I've coached under some coaches who, they're good coaches, but you know what? They just are not championship. They cannot help take the team to the next level. And Thibodeau is, to me, that type of a coach. You want to argue, he got you to the Eastern Conference Finals. Okay, but how is he going to get you over? And that's the thing. So, oh damn, Drew, you got me with that. Yo, I was about ready to say
Giants trade. Oh man, yeah, I know. Ain't no way in hell.
I was worried.
Like, damn, how many pass rushes can you have? Shit.
Hey, you can never have
Somebody
enough pass rushes. Nah, you can never.
That would be over the top, bro. That would be over the top. Well, unless they traded Kayvon in that deal, then I could see it with Burns, Carter, and with Watt,
Yeah.
Burns, and Carter. Oh my God, that would
Ooh,
be vicious.
Good one, Drew. Good one. Tibbs is the
Marty
Schottenheimer.
Schottenheimer. I
Yes,
got you.
yes, yes.
But you gotta think too though. It's not like Minnesota and Chicago went on to do great things after they got rid of Thibodeau either. So I'm telling you,
Fair.
you gotta have a legit like upgrade, and that's I don't know if Mike Brown is that legit upgrade.
Why did I say that? I'm taking a wait and see approach.
Mhm.
I have to take that wait and see approach. I mean, I've heard that Tibbs was very lax on the players. He didn't practice a lot. Mike Brown practices, so that's the thing. So I mean,
Well, he ain't practiced because he was running them into the ground during the game. So yeah, you got to take it easy in some aspect. You can't. Oh, we're gonna practice hard and play hard, and yeah, that's what you want these players to do. But these players ain't necessarily built like that these days. So yeah, if he's lighting it up in practice, then he probably wants you to go full straddle during the game. That makes sense. So you can't really get mad at the man.
No. It's not that. But what I'm getting at is, you know what? And this is where my old school theory comes into play. And I'm sorry, it's championship tested and it's tried and true. You practice, you play how you practice, plain and simple. And I don't want to hear the walkthrough. And I'm not saying you go through practice and you beat each other up. Sometimes a walkthrough is good. And that's what's needed. But sometimes you gotta, because the practice will also set the tone for you mentally. Because how are you fighting? And I've always been a thing where if your practice is harder than the games you play in, then you're going to be on the road to winning championships. And I've seen it, time and time again. Look, you can talk about the old Bulls. Whatchamacallit had those days where he forced them to practice, and then, and then with the Lakers, Kobe and them. They would fight and practice hard, and then you have your moments where you back off and you just go through some walkthroughs and the more the mental focus. So there has to be that balance, yes. And I'm not saying go from one extreme to the other where you're not practicing that much and now you're practicing a whole lot. But sometimes the practice will help you step it up, and that's where I'm talking about getting over the hump. And you talked about it earlier. This is the opportune time in the East, man. Yes, you have to worry about Cleveland. I still am, while Giannis is still with Milwaukee, I still have to respect what they have over there. They're just not going to be a walkover. Orlando, I've been talking about Orlando for the longest while, so they have that continuity, so it's a step up. Atlanta, some good moves. So, can they just, so the East, while it's wide open, still going to be a fight. Detroit, you saw, now Detroit, I'm wondering because you lost Schroeder and you lost Tim Hardaway Jr. So, but again, we talked about that yesterday. So let's get back. Are you finished with the Jets?
Yeah, the Jets are the Jets are the Jets. But that's all fine and dandy. Now, again, man, I want to real quick go over some quick hockey news. Islanders, they had the number one pick in the draft. They had a number one pick in the draft, and they drafted defensive man Matthew Schaefer. And it says not only to impact the organization, but possibly becoming a future captain. They got an A+ for their draft. Now, I'm no hockey expert, so I'm not going to run down all the names and break it down. I'm not going to front for you guys, but the Islanders did get an A+ according to ESPN. They got an A+ for their draft, so they did do a pretty good job with the number one pick. Like I said, defensive man Matthew Schaefer out of Canada, 6'2", 186 pounds. I guess it says he played for Erie. So now let's look at the other two teams. Where's my Rangers at? All right, Devils. Here are the Devils. The Devils, with their first, well, they had a second round pick, 50th overall, drafted Conrad Fondrick. Says the Devils were a mixed bag, drafting guys with good value and a few head scratches, including a player who didn't play a single game this season. Siggy Holmgren. Apparently that's what they were talking about, drafting him in the 6th round. So they got a B for their draft. And I'm guessing the Rangers didn't do as good as they thought, because I'm scrolling and they are way down here. Yeah, C+. All right. So Rangers, 2nd round, 43rd overall. That was their first pick. Drafting a left wing, Malcolm Spence out of Canada, 6'1", 190. It says this entire grade hinges on Malcolm Spence, who I just mentioned, who provided tremendous value for the Rangers in the 2nd round. There's little doubt he will become a middle 6 pest, and if the Rangers can sort out their development issues, he's got a chance to be a second line winger. Like I said, left winger. What did it say here, though? See, keywords trigger me. If the Rangers can sort out their development issues, why all these New York teams can't develop nobody? Now I gotta do a little more digging into this, because, like I said, I'm not, as fluent in hockey as in the other sports. But why development? Can't none of these teams develop?
I did that, bro. I can't understand that, because development is the basic foundation of any coaching, managing in sports, man. That goes back to youth sports. I mean, that's development. That's, not only the physical, but it's the mental, helping players understand, see the game, talk to them. Yes, players are a different breed from when I grew up, when you grew up, and some of you guys in the chat, so I get it. But still, it's still those foundational points, and the foundation is there. And that's why it baffles me when it comes to development. Why do we have problems in sports developing players? I
don't get it, bro.
The yelling, some players can't handle people yelling at them. Well, that's pressure, man. Pressure busts pipes. So if you can't handle a coach yelling at you, what's going to happen if we're fighting for a playoff spot, for a championship? You going to crack? Want to develop. Pat, you're so right.
Right, Pat. None of these New York teams can develop anybody. We talking about the Rangers now. They can't develop nobody. It's a wonder why they've been losing to the Florida Panthers and the Carolina and all these other teams. Yeah, can't develop. Islanders with the number 1 pick. How they get the number 1 pick? Probably because they can't develop. We talk about the football teams all the time. Here we are back at square one with the Nets, who are trying to develop. We'll see if they're successful or not. And then we just talked about it with Tibbs and the Knicks.
And one of the key reasons why they hired Brown was, player development. So, and
crazy.
And I don't want to make it just seem like it's only in New York. It's in sports. That's why I said what I said. It's sports. I see it in college sports. And I don't care where. I see it across the Big Ten. I see it in the SEC. Some schools, have a hard time developing players, or you see some players playing in a certain system and they're marginal or they're okay, but then they go to the pros and their game takes another level. So, player development is across all sports. Now we can highlight it because this is a New York show and we emphasize New York here. So, That's an excellent assessment with Pat. But player development in all sports, it's a problem for me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got it in Chicago. You know, look at the baseball teams in Chicago, man. I mean, God, dog. Now the Cubs doing good this year, but it's been a long stretch. You know what I'm saying? It's been a long stretch. You know, the Bulls after Jordan, they've had trouble, you know, developing and keeping players over there. You know, and damn, we don't even want to get into the Bears. They got the number 1 quarterback in the draft, and we talking about him not developing. So to Coach's point, it is true in sports in general, and I think it's partially because of the era that we in right now. You know, it's we could talk about that another time, man. But I want to touch on this thing Alex said before we get into Coach's Corner. Aaron Boone's comments after the game. I'm telling you, I'm not letting off these goddamn Yankees. It's never fun losing 3 in a row, especially to a division opponent, but our guys competed their ass off. This is what I'm talking about. Hold your players accountable. It's not we competed. We didn't do a good enough job. We lost. We stunk. We got to get better. We got to hit better. We got to pitch better. Not this poo-pooing. This soft landing for these fucking players, man. I'm tired of it.
I'm tired of the politically correctness.
Right.
I there are times I'm politically correct with certain things, but like to what you're saying, there are times where you got to hold people accountable. And I'm sorry, you know, and that's it's just frustrating. You know, who said it once? Somebody said it. You know, I'm tired of being in everybody gets a trophy era, because that's what we're in. You know, no. You win, you lose. You know, now if you lose, you get in the lab, you find out what it is you got to do to improve yourself, improve your game, help your team improve as a manager, as a coach, and then you hold those players accountable. You tell them what the standards are. You tell them what, you know, it is. You show them in film. You know, yes, there are times when you got to, you know, there are players you got to, you know, sometimes you got to pull it back a little bit, but you still want to hold them accountable. You don't want to go soft on them 100%. No, because that's also where you would lose your team. So, look, now I'm not saying you have to, you know, Bill Parcells every damn player, you know, but Bill Parcells knew some guys he would have to, you know, really, and he knew. And then there's some guys he would, you know what, I'm going to put my arm around you and come here, let me talk to you a little bit and pull you to the side. You know, look, this is what we have to do. So,
but they want to treat everybody like you said, like with this sensitivity, like, oh, you know, we don't want to make people upset and, you know, piss people off and da-da-da. That's why they got rid of Joe Girardi. Saying Joe Girardi ain't mind pissing you off. You know what I'm saying? Joe Girardi need to get his message across, and he did so. You know, Joe Torre. Like, we need a Joe back in the Bronx. You know what I'm saying? Because Joe holds you accountable. You know, Aaron, Boone, Judge, Rogers, and I don't know about Aaron's. But anyway, we about to wrap it up, Mets, man. But I appreciate you tapping in, man. Catch us a little bit earlier next time. Coach's Corner, man. You ready for it?
Yeah, it's gonna be quick.
All right. Let's kick it off, man. Y'all hit that like button, man. Like, I'm telling you, man, these goddamn New York teams not holding them people accountable here. But let's get into Coach's Corner, man. And we're gonna wrap this thing up. Heart of the City 94, man. We are back. Let's go, man. New York's gonna be fired up, man, with the baseball, the basketball, football is on its way, training camp. So keep it locked here. Wednesday, 9 p.m. This is our new time. Same show, same 2 knuckleheads. Let's get it.
Appreciate it, man. Thank you for everyone for being here. I'm going to dive into this coach's corner, go over a few things. One of the things I wanted to touch on first locally is the local arena team, the Jersey Bearcats. I've been following them all season, and, they've had a very good season. Right now, they're in their playoff format. They just played their rival, the Steel City Stampede, and this was in the semifinals. This was in the quarterfinals. They beat the Stampede 35-20 this past Friday. So right now they're going to be hosting this coming Friday the Michigan Avengers. Michigan comes down to Jersey, and they're going to compete against the Avengers. And whoever wins that goes to the AAL2 championship. So, and that's going to be one of the teams coming up from the South, whether it's in Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, somebody from down south to be coming up. So I wanted to highlight them real quick, respect to them, and hopefully they can bring another championship back to the area. So now I'm going to move over to the W. So a lot going on in terms of the Liberty. But before I do that, I just wanted to touch base. Yesterday was the Commissioner's Cup. Now, unfortunately, our Liberty did not make it. They ended up having a loss to the Indiana Fever, which is why they weren't in the Commissioner's Cup. But Indiana went to Minnesota and actually, without Caitlin Clark, beat the Minnesota Lynx yesterday 74-59. So it was impressive. The MVP was former Liberty. What's her name? I forgot her name. Ooh, hold on, let me pull up. What's her name? It wasn't Aaliyah Boston. Roster. Not Kelsey. Natasha Howard. Natasha Howard, I think she had a double-double, 16 points, and I think she had 12 rebounds. So she definitely helped lead them to the championship. So congratulations, and this is hard for me to say this as a Liberty fan because I'm not a big fan of the Indiana teams when it comes to basketball. So, but congratulations to them, especially winning the Commissioner's Cup. So, but we're now going to be getting back into the regular season. The Liberty stand overall number 3 in the W. You have Minnesota at number 1, Phoenix at number 2, and the Liberty at number 3. The Liberty have had a rough patch right now the past few weeks. Jonquel Jones has been out. She's supposed to be out anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks with an ankle injury. You also have Leonia Febish, who's over internationally playing for the Europe Cup that's out there. So hopefully she should be back. But that's 2 key starters that are gone. And the Liberty, they went on the West Coast and they tripped and they came back 1-4. And they've been in the last 6 games. I think they're 1-5. Lost twice to the Mercury. They lost to the Atlanta Dream. Lost to the Seattle Storm. That's it right there. So, and they beat the Valkyries. So, but again, they're still in the 3rd spot. Power rankings, they actually have them at 4. But overall, they're still in the 3rd spot. Tomorrow they host the Los Angeles Sparks. Los Angeles comes to Brooklyn, and led by Kelsey Plum. But hopefully New York will get on the rebound and get a win, and then let's see if we can take it from there and get back on the winning track. So just wanted to touch base right there in reference to the Liberty, and hopefully we can rebound and get going. So locally, I'm going to move over to the NBA and some local players who were either signed to free agent contracts or were drafted. Starting with St. John's. St. John's has 2 players from their team last year who were signed to contracts. You have, what's his name? EJ Luis. He actually had agreed to a 2-way contract with the Utah Jazz. So this will allow him to play with the Jazz but he'll also play with their G League team on occasions as his game starts to develop. So congratulations to them. Looking forward to seeing his game. And then Kadari Richardson, former Seton Hall, as well as playing for St. John's. He was signed by the Washington Wizards. So he's going to be trying out for the Wizards. And yeah, he was signed by the Wizards, and he's going to be trying to see if he can catch on to with a regular season contract with the Wizards. So good luck to him. Locally, the two big time draft picks were Dylan Harper with the San Antonio Spurs. He was taken number 2 overall, and number 5 was Ace Bailey. And I know Ace Bailey has been getting a lot of flack, but he even said people were questioning if he's going to show up to Utah, and he's in Utah. He's getting ready for his summer league. They actually have a game on Saturday night. They take on the Sixers in Utah. So, but he's there and he's ready to go. And he even said it. He's fortunate to be in his position, and having some great teammates. So he's just ready to rock and roll. And it just baffles my mind when people, for whatever reason, want to poo-poo on him and what he has. But you know what? A lot of people are going to be surprised when they see this young man, if he's developed right, see his overall abilities on the basketball court. So good luck to him. Hopefully he'll be able to take it from there. And the last thing I want to touch on, so dealing with a local basketball phenom back in the days. Those of you who remember God Sham God from New York, played basketball in New York, played a little bit in the NBA. Most of his professional playing has been overseas, but since 2019, he was actually a player development coach with the Dallas Mavericks. Well, he was just given an assistant coach position, and he was with the Orlando Magic. So he's going to be moving over to the Orlando Magic and taking on a position there with the Magic as a coach. So last one player locally, Cliff Omoruyi, who was with Rutgers before he went to Alabama this past year. He also signed with Toronto. So he has a free agent deal with Toronto. So, and here it is. One last thing I wanted to touch on. This is a big one in terms of Rutgers women's basketball. And I bring this on. This is in dealing with the coaching staff. Rutgers recently brought in a big-time coach. She is going to be the assistant head coach for Rutgers, but she's coming from UCLA, where she was also the assistant head coach and one of their prime recruiters. She was one of the reasons why UCLA got a lot of the talent that they got over there. So, and it's Shannon LaBeouf. So she's coming over as a coach, and her husband. They're both on the coaching staff. So this is a big get for Rutgers. Just so you guys get a little insight into what she brings. She spent 14 years on the sideline in LA. She helped guide the team to 321 wins, 9 tournament appearances, 1 Elite 8 appearance, 1 Final Four appearance. And on their recruiting trail, she helped UCLA grab 14 top 25 recruiting classes and 2 number 1 overall recruiting classes during her time in the program. So this is a big get for Rutgers women's basketball, and hopefully she'll be able to help the women get back to what we were used to in terms of Rutgers women's basketball. So those are the things I wanted to touch on in reference to the local area in Coach's Corner. So Rybread, thank you. Yeah, he played at Providence for 2 years. Yeah, that's right. And that's God Sham God. He played at Providence. So, but again, that's what I have for you in Coach's Corner. Back to you, NYG.
Yeah, man. God Sham God. I mean, you should trying to do the God Sham God, the crossover, man. Yeah. That was legendary in the hood, bro. Like, yeah. That's crazy you touched on that. Yep. God Sham God, Yeah, not a lot of people know about that, man. But congratulations to him too, man. The Liberty, I'm concerned. A little concerned. I ain't gonna hold you. A little concerned. Jonquel Jones.
That's the big factor. You see, their last game against Atlanta, we were talking about it yesterday on the Full Court Press Show. Me, Leaf, and Man Cave. It seemed like every time Atlanta has good size in Jones as well as Brittany Griner. It just seemed, and their guards were attacking the paint because you don't have Jonquel there. Jonquel is that rim protector, and Nayara Sabally, she tries, but she's not the talent that Jonquel Jones is. So, right. And that's key to me right now. Getting her back, but again, they brought her back a little bit too early, which is why she went back out. And right now they said 4 to 6 weeks. If they can hold the fort and stay within the top 4, and I think they can, as long as they can do that, I'm concern is a fair argument, and I don't have a problem with that. But I'm not too concerned because I'm more get Jonquel back, get her back into game shape. So when Leonia comes back, she'll be able to help because she's good size, length, and that to me, those are the two, especially on the defensive end, that will help the Liberty going forward. Now, also on the offensive end, Sabrina has also been down right now because she was out for a game or two with a neck injury. So, and right now she's been back, and she hasn't been her normal self because before that she was kicking out those 20 pieces like crazy. But right now she's coming back from an injury, so I understand the concern and it's fair. But I also think that we still have time because they play 44 games. And the Liberty, let me double check. The Liberty are 11-15, so that's game 16. So they still have time to rebound. So we'll see where it goes right there from there.
Yeah. And real quick, just want to comment on Ace Bailey. Excellent job, by the way, man. You broke all that down very beautifully as you always do. Bro. This is a kid, man. Just coming, relax. I understand. See, this is what I have a problem with. And we went through this with Shedeur Sanders in the NFL. It's like players, sometimes our culture, Aboriginals, sometimes we're a little bit too vocal about what we want. And the media has a problem with that. They want you to talk, but they don't want you to talk about certain things, and a lot of players, coach, try to dictate where they want to go. It's just not out there like that. You know what I'm saying? Now, publicly, Eli Manning did it. You know what I'm saying? He had a huge family and a huge backing behind him that could support him doing that. Ace Bailey doesn't have what Eli Manning had, even what a Shedeur Sanders had. And you seen he even got drugged through the mud. Now, that's what I'm talking about. The kid don't want to go play in Utah. He didn't want to go play in Utah. But he's going to be a man. And he's going to be a soldier. He's going to go in there and show up. So leave him alone. If I'm from Brooklyn, personally, I never been to Wyoming and nothing against that state, but I don't want to go out there and play. I don't want to live out there. I don't want to be there. I'm an East Coast guy. You can't get mad at a man for wanting what he wants. If you are a media person, say for instance, and sometimes the media wants you to lie, but they won't tell you to lie, but they really want you to lie. And this is a situation. If you ask me, hey, you about to get drafted, where would you like to play? And then I tell you, I don't care. I'm lying. Because in the back of my mind, I don't want to go to Utah. I don't want to go to Portland. I don't want to go to, somewhere way in the West Coast up north where I'm thousands of miles away from my family. And you a young kid. You got to think. You got an attachment to your people. You want to be around your people, especially in the beginning of your career. Now, as you get older, you tend to have the opposite approach. You kind of want to get away from them. But in the beginning of your career, you want to be around your people. You want to be around your family. So why do people get mad at that? So I'm glad you laid that out, Coach, man. Like you did, because I had the same thing with Ace. I wish the Nets could have drafted him. I wish it would have worked out where he could have got where he wanted to go. But just go do your thing in Utah. Play your contract out, 5 years, ask for a trade, come on back to the East Coast. That's how you do it, bro. That's how you do it. They all do it. You know, they end up, they'll go somewhere, play for a while, then they all end up going where they really want to be. So go in there, keep your head down, grind, do what you do, which is get buckets, and you'll be where you want to be soon. You know, man, but don't let that media attention, man, get to you, man, because they be on some bullshit, man. Y'all do that shit to every player, you know, and you get mad at these guys for wanting what they want, but then you want them to talk to y'all all the time. But this has been Heart of the City, number 94. We almost at 100 episodes. Got to get something cooked up special for the 100th episode. So y'all keep it locked here, right here on the Aboriginal Sports Network. Appreciate all y'all for tuning in. Appreciate Coach. Appreciate Big Pack. Appreciate the whole squad, the whole team, Man Cave, Leaf. You know, everybody on the squad, TP Way, Rob Zero, Mets, the Lay of Game, you know. All our people, Ghost Dog. Yeah, man. We rolling, man. Aboriginal Sports Network. This is Heart of the City. We do this, man. New York. If you want that type of energy, come here. Knicks fans, Nets fans. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? Giants, Jets fans, you know? Yankees, Mets fans, and even the rival teams, because I know y'all want to come. But we're going to end it, man. We done. We up out of here, man. Any last words, Coach? Because
we good.
All right, man. Until next time, man, we out of here. Y'all remember, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Next Wednesday, we right back with another episode. We are back on our schedule. And again, it's going to be more news to come. Free agency still going on. Training camps on the way. Baseball is hot and heavy. All-Star game coming up. So, again, we'll cover all that and more next week. Heart of the City, man. Going to end it out with the ABSN intro because I want y'all to subscribe to the ABSN network, the Aboriginal Sports Network. Also, go hit up Unpopular Opinion Sports and Coach Ed Gladney's Amazing World of Sports. Those are our individual channels. Appreciate y'all, man. See y'all next week. Holla.
Giants organization that really put Daniel Jones in the forefront and carried him in that type of light, man, on national TV.
$223. The suspension also opens the door for the Texans to release Al-Shahir.
Then in 1976, guess who was hired? At T-Spence. This is where preference plays the biggest.
But I'm gonna have to knock this down and get the oohs and ahs of Houston.
Welcome to the Aboriginal Sports Network.